Hello everyone. Wow, there are so many people of you here. Hey, Default, UX, SJ, Marvin, holy crap. Yodis, Gavin, Marvin again, George, and all of you who I didn't see yet. David, Stishi, Midrule, and Krakli, and people who I don't know how to pronounce, so I don't pronounce them. Joy. Crystallic. Hope you're doing well. How is everything going? I can already officially say Merry Christmas in South Korea. It's the 24th already. Germans actually celebrate on 24th. I think Americans 25th. Doesn't matter. Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate it. Today it's all about you. It's all about you. You sent me your tracks and we are going to listen to them. We're going to marvel at what this community comes up with. I will give you my thoughts and impressions, some feedback as we listen to it. And yeah, I'm hoping for different styles, different people with different experience levels. I hope we will have lots of fun. Don't take this too serious, but also get helpful information out of it to learn something together. So, how's it been with you? Let me know. Curtis, for this stream, we have already so many submissions that we probably won't be able to listen to any new submissions. But feel free to submit something for the next one. If people like this format, I don't mind doing it more frequently if it's helpful to you. We'll stream for about 2 to 2.5 hours, I think. And I'll do as many submissions as time permits. I'll try not to ramble too much. Let me know if I'm doing anything wrong. It's my first live stream ever. I've been looking forward to doing this for a long time. Now I'm excited to do it. I'm actually so excited that I'm doing this live stream on Christmas morning at 6 a.m. in Korea. So I'm tired, but I'm happy to be here. Hey Ben, Jake. I hope that this stream will be especially encourage like beginners to submit, because yeah, that's what like I would like to help people out, because I remember when I started out like 4 or 5 years ago, And it was really helpful for me to just listen, to just see somebody listen to my tracks and comment on that, because like it's sort of valid, like it makes me valid as a beginner. I say, you know, this is where I am. I expose myself with the level that I am at right now, and that level is not high. I'm just a beginner, you know, but I accept that, and I'm willing to work hard and improve. And then, like, if you accept yourself at the level where you are right now, and put in the work, there's only one way, and that's up. So if I manage to inspire anyone, any beginner here to, you know, to get started and accept themselves for what they are at their stage and then be willing to improve, that would be super fulfilling for me, and I'm looking forward to that. Untitled Goose, Ron, yeah. Here it is. It's actually huge, and it's a duck. Please, please be mindful. It doesn't like to be mistaken for a goose. Okay, so at the end of the stream, we're also going to give away a cool sample library. If you want to enter the giveaway, go to the Become a Pro Composer Discord community and enter the giveaway. You don't have to do anything. I don't need your private information, nothing. If you're not on the Discord yet, you can join here. And we are raffling Tonsturm Spiral Strings. Super unique sample library. I'm posting it here. Basically, they built a Frankenstein of an instrument with like strings. Sounds super cinematic. Watch the trailer and give it a try. It only works if you have Contact Full, so please enter the giveaway only if you have the full version of Contact. Else, yeah, it doesn't really bring you anything. But yeah, the giveaway is posted on the Become Pro Composer Discord server in the giveaway channel. Feel free to enter, and the giveaway will automatically end in 2 hours. You have 2 hours to join and press the enter button. Okay, with that being said, let's start. So, first submission, we have Ron Snyders. Kevin, first of all, thanks for doing this. And for the Discord, here's my little track. It's 42 seconds, and I'm aiming for that How to Train Your Dragon test drive soaring feeling. I was actually listening to that soundtrack yesterday. Let me switch to the streaming overlay. Does the chat work? Is that the right chat? I think so. One sec. Okay. How to Train Your Dragon test drive soaring feeling. But I'm continuously stumped on how to expand upon an idea, so I'm forever writing 30 seconds to 60 seconds long practice pieces that never quite hit the vibe I'm going for. Which in this case is why I call the piece Not So Soaring.mp3. That's funny. One more thing I forgot to mention. So my main questions would be, how do I get that soaring or flying vibe? And how do I expand on an idea without it getting stale? One more thing I forgot to mention, when I add instruments, I'm having a hard time keeping it from becoming a big, busy, muddy mess sound-wise. Of course, I haven't done any mixing yet, but I guess it should be possible to get it to sound all right by just writing and orchestrating better, for sure. It's all Jaeger modern mix, so I guess it should work okay with each other. Let's see, Ron. You did submit your track via email. I already have all submissions for this stream. I think we have 16 submissions. I'm not sure if I can do all. I should talk less and listen more. So let's start. But feel free to still send in your tracks, and it will get considered for the next stream, if there will be one. And I hope there will be one. Okay, let me know if anything is wrong with the sound, with the, if you can hear me well, if you can hear the music well. Yeah, just let me know. And let's listen to Ron's not so soaring theme. Okay. Thanks for your submission, Ron. What are my impressions? Definitely, I hear that vibe that you're going for, like that fluffy strings sort of riff for ostinato going on. It's quite modular. I mean, I hear 4 repetitions, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very strictly like, like you made it very granular. So like 8 bars or 16 bars that are repeat again, and then you add more instruments, which makes sense. So your 2 questions. One is you don't find it soaring enough, or like get this exciting feeling of flying. The other one is like, how can you expand this idea? So let's start about the orchestration first, about this feeling of flying and having like this energy and like lively feel to it. So with like you reference this test drive track from the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack, and if you compare it, you will notice that there's a lot more going on in the orchestration. So what you're doing here is quite simple for me, easy for me to understand which instruments you're using, because it's quite easily noticeable. Like here we have, I guess, 1 track. And here we have like three things happening, like the drums, the riff goes on, and then these violin accents. And then here in the climax, you introduce counter melodies, horns, and violins that play over this cello ostinato, which works well. But if you compare it to the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack, you will notice that in that soundtrack there's a lot more going on for doubling to create this dense, rich, and detailed orchestral feeling. For example, I think there are no flutes in your piece, and you can always do, for example, layer. Like you can either have flutes and harps play crazy run and add energy to the next transition. For example, when you transition from the into the climax part, you can take the energy and add a little run to jump and catapult the listener into the next section. This brrr, and John Powell loves to do this in the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack. And we're also doing this make a mock-up game currently, where we are mocking up one of his newer works, and we also notice that there's a lot of this flourishes and details. You can layer instruments, like the flutes can double what the violins play to make them a bit more like fluffy, I guess, this airy quality. Bassoons can do that with the cellos to make them sound a bit more rich and make the entire thing a bit bigger, like sound bigger, and give it more impact. Hey, Strezov Sampling, nice to see you here. Thank you. Happy holidays to you. So let's check again. Yeah, the riff is super cool. The velocities are nicely executed. The violin stingers, like stings, they pierce nicely through it. But then at the climax, I felt like there's bass missing. I would like to see more bass here. Here. I think you have the the double basses play these double the accents from the violins, like dum dum dum, but you don't have bass like root notes that give a foundations for the chords. So the climax is sort of missing a little bit of harmonic context, I think. You can do that with tubas, contrabassoons, and double basses, for example, or double them. You can also have the double basses play a root note and then have the tubas like have these accents if you want to put them into the lower range as well. Sounds a bit dry. I would probably add a bit more reverb. And there's a lot happening at the same time. So the strings and the horns have this, they play the intertwined counter melodies and melodies over the ostinato, which is still quite in the front. So they fight a little bit against each other. And it loses a bit of clarity there. So it's hard for me as a first-time listener to understand where should I focus now? What is the main melody or the main aspect that I should concentrate on? In general, I think I can immediately understand the vibe that you want to go for, which is, props to you, which is good. But I think with these points, you might get a bit closer to that John Powell feeling that you're trying to go for, like richer orchestration, more instruments, introduce the flutes, the woodwinds. Often in these soundtracks, even when you can't hear them exposed, like when they don't have a flashy melody that they play, they're usually there, they're layered underneath there, and they contribute a lot to giving this rich orchestrated feeling. Like usually there's a lot going on in these soundtracks, but it's often doubled. It doesn't mean that there are more elements individually playing, because our ear can only focus on so many. But they're usually layered very well, and don't be shy to have different things play the same thing to create these rich orchestral textures. Hey Stefano, nice to see you. Happy holidays. Thanks. Yeah, I'm also excited. For structure, what you can do if you want to make this like a 2-minute track, you have a few things you can do. So one thing is what you basically did. You ramped it up with each repetition to add more and more elements in a sort of AAA structure, I guess. So you have first the riff, the ostinato, and then you have these bam, 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 these accents, and then you add the horns and the strings over the same repetitive ostinato. That works super well. But it only works so well, for, like you noticed, for 60 seconds maybe. So what you can do is, either you can reduce what you're doing, so you don't have to show the entire riff yet, like dum 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 dum. You can only keep it like an intro before, where you reduce it. Maybe you only play the root notes, like dum 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 dum, like very softly, and add some texture, some slow swelling chords underneath, and then as the theme unfolds and the listener is like, what is this? What's going to happen now? Then you slowly introduce the next notes of the motif or of the riff that you're playing, and then this helps you create like a story arc or like anticipation. People wonder like what's happening? What's going next? Another thing you can do is, okay, when you feel like here. Here you can introduce more chord changes. And here, for example, you could go for modulation. You could just play the same thing with a different chord. Like you can modulate it 2 half steps up. Also, John Powell, I think, likes to do that in the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack. or at least in the Migration soundtrack. And then it takes the same thing that you already got familiar to, but it elevates it and adds more energy to it. And the theme becomes like, wow, now we're, we're flying, we're going higher. So reducing doesn't help much with the flying aspect and the lively aspect, but it helps you make the track longer while not getting boring. But then like a modulation can happen, and of course a second motif adding something to it. Chord changes. You can play the same riff over a different chord, or you can just modulate the entire thing. Mixing wise, as I said, add more instruments, but don't have these more instruments play the like more different things, because our ear can only focus on a couple of things at the same time. And even the most complex John Williams soundtracks, they never really do more than 4 or 5 things at the same time, but they're layered so nicely together, and they have like question and answer phrases that in a way that it sounds really complex and rich and dense. And that will also help you like mixing wise. So with Jaeger Modern Mix, it's quite hyped and processed in your face, I would say. And I would probably I think Jaeger also doesn't have woodwinds, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe try going for the classic mix, but instead add more instruments to it. If you have another woodwinds from another library, try to add them in. See what it's doing, if you like it or not. This is ultimately your decision what you want to go for. But yeah, I would solve this through orchestration, more details and flourishes, and modulation. I think that would be really cool. I'll give the track a bit more structure, like a story arc. Right now it's a layer cake, 1, 2, 3, 4 layers that are stacked on top. And I would probably switch things up with the modulation, add a little intro, a reduction to the beginnings to have like a bit of onboarding to the listener going on. Yeah, really cool. I liked it. I hope this was helpful. And I should move on to the next one. I should also set a timer for myself, 1 sec, so I don't talk too much about one track, and I really don't want the others to miss their chance to get featured here. How many viewers are we at now? I don't see it actually. I think it's good, so I don't always look at it, but I have no clue. Great to see lots of people here on the stream. Makes me really happy. Also didn't expect it. So thanks to you. Let's give a nice big round of applause to Ron. Thanks for submitting it. And yeah, I really, really appreciate it. Let's add some claps. Super good. Oh my, 34. That's cool. Hey, Shukra. Nice to have you here. Paul. Hey. Next one. We have. By the way, I randomized these submissions. I made Ron first because he was a supporter on Ko-fi. He left a tip earlier. After the Ko-fi subscribers, I will. So let's deactivate my mails. I will do this randomly, so nobody gets an unfair advantage. Richard Kessing is next. The Escape. Let's see what Richard's saying. Yeah, thanks, Ben, for the extra feedback. Super great to have you here, Ben, as my trusty moderator. Yeah, thanks for helping me out. Okay, Richard Cassing. Kevin, here's my track for the feedback stream. Please let me know if you have any trouble downloading. Okay. Anyway, The Escape, 120 BPM. I'd really like general feedback on what you like and what you change to make it better. Okay. What I like and what I change to make it better. Richard Kessing, The Escape. Ooh. I like that bass drone. Ah, that piano is nice. Outro. Nice. Thanks, Richard. Really cool submission. Yeah, like very ominous, like Jake said. This is cool. You have a main motif. And yeah, you use the piano for that quite, yeah, to make it very distinct, almost like trailer style, I would say, where you have the piano notes to contrast this large orchestra and have like, yeah, it's very cinematic feel. In the beginning, you have very nice storytelling, I think. Yeah, you start with this very soft and like build up that creates atmosphere, which is really, really cool. Yeah. Very cool. The cellos, I think, like da da da. This is great counter melody. These little shorts, just a bit. Not too much in the foreground, which is good. Yeah. You slowly have, yeah, you have the basses. Do I hear bassoons? No, I think not. I think not. Would have been cool to layer them down, I think, for a bit richer feel. But it doesn't have to be. Don't worry. Doch, doch, I said doch. Like a German. Doch, there are bassoons, I think. Ah, nice. Yeah, it's good. Here, nice resolution. Here, I would leave a bit of a pause. I don't know if you know what medium you want to have this for. If you want to submit it, or if it's supposed in a specific style. If you want it for a trailer track, for a video game track. But here would be a good chance after this resolving chord to let it rest for 1 bar maybe, and then have it like start again here with a bit more intensity. Nice swells. Slowly the percussion comes in. And I like this chord, it's good. The diminished one, I think. Yeah. Yeah, this build-up is nice. This piano here. And the marching feel of the short strings. It's really nice build-up. It's a quiet build-up. It's a quiet build-up, but a good one. It's effective. Because it's like this contrast. Because now that you have the quiet build-up, like it's building up, but it's still very reduced. And then as you jump into the climax, sort of, yeah, it has this contrast that you need to make this like, oh yes, you know, now it gets, yeah, now it gets big. Here I would have loved if you kept this 3-note motif, which you established in the entire track. If you kept it and made it bigger, you like added horns, added more instruments to have this, to take this motif and keep playing it, bam, 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 as the orchestra joins in. That would have been so nice. I think it's still there in the background, but now you decided in the climax to put the other instruments, the other counter melodies, or other melodies like second motifs in the foreground. Like the dum 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 dum. Yeah, it would have been nice if the horns would now be da da da. I hear the trumpet counter melody. The cellos are very loud here. Yeah, the cellos are very loud playing these root notes. I think, put them down a bit more. You have the trumpets and the violins playing their thing. But it sort of loses my focus there a little bit because I was looking forward to this. I understand that as a composer, and I do this myself as well, you tend to find things too boring and you want to add more and more interesting things because you fear that the listener is losing their focus. But it would have been totally enough to have in the foreground here with, you know, with horns, with trumpets if you want, or like just with horns and then have the trumpets answer, ba-da-bam, bam, bam. Also, like really scale it up with the entire orchestra. And yeah, it would have been good to have that as the main thing happen in that climax. And then the other lines, what you have now playing with the violins and the trumpets, could be in the background when it's resting here, they could now play the counter melodies. Yeah, exactly. It feels like teasing a melody and then it doesn't come. The entire thing could be also louder. Maybe put a limiter on it. It's really cool how you keep this unresolved and then reduce it back to the outro. Very trailer style. Yeah, that's how you do it. I would have not played the bass note here because now it goes like. Because it goes back to the chord progression. So I would have probably just played it like in the outro with the piano, very reduced, like and let it ring out like this. To mimic this eerie, ominous feeling that you have here. I think that would have fit a bit better. Totally up to you. I love this. It's cool. Nice story building, nice structure. Orchestration sounds nice. There could be more detail, like I said, like flourishes, lively parts. The strings could have, like, they could start as the climax come with a little like a run to add this energy, like these details that are quite hard to do because they require like more details, more work in the DAW, and depending on how your workflow is, it can be really tedious. So I find myself like having to force myself to add these details in, but this is great. I'm happy you submitted this. Thanks for this. Impressive. You nailed the ominous tone, you nailed the structure, you nailed the build-up. In the climax, try to not lose all the anticipation that you built beforehand. Thanks so much. Big round of applause for Richard. Great job, Richard. How are you doing all? Everything okay? Is the sound okay? Everything good? Should I just keep going like this? Hope this is helpful. For people watching, this is so mind-blowing for me. Thank you so much. Yeah, the trailer style cutoffs. That's good. Very cinematic piece. Everything nice. Oh, so happy to hear that. I had many test streams. I obsessed a bit to not making this a horrible experience. So I'm glad that everything's working out. Now we have the next one. Boim. Boim. Oh, did he say something actually? One sec. Forgot the notes, submission notes. Where do we have you? Yeah, feel free to submit. Merry Christmas. And you can submit. And for the next stream. Yeah, I always close the mail app, and then it's because when I close it, it doesn't really close, and the notifications are still on, but that's okay. Where's Boim's? Ah, there we go. Okay. So, Boim, normal battle theme 3. That's the most anticlimactic track title ever. So he said, typically I tend to be pretty good at giving that orchestral sound, but whenever I include electronic elements, it starts really leaning into that. Aside from general production critique, I'd like to know how I can push the orchestra further without taking away the electronic feel. Push it further to the front or to the back? Like push it back or push it louder? I guess push it louder, you mean. I'd also very much like to know how I can push the choir further, because it's not as aggressive as I'd like it to be. Okay, let's listen to Boim's normal battle theme number 3. Curious to know if there are 2 other ones. Track tempo, set it to 0. Okay. Normal battle theme number 3. Oh! Holy cow. The electric guitar. Sounds like a new track starting. And you bring back same piano from the beginning. Wow. Okay, boom. Normal battle theme 3. I think there was not much normal about this. This was eccentric. Thanks for submitting. What can we say? That was interesting. So I felt like in a Dance Dance Revolution game, or like a, any of these Japanese or Taiwanese like O2 Jam types of, or Citus on mobile, if anyone plays this, like these rhythm games where you press press the right notes in the right time, and then you have these hyper skilled people who who do this lightning fast. I saw these in Korean arcade. It's crazy. That's exactly the type of track that I would expect there. So it's on steroids. It's super. There's so much happening there. Like, you do two things here. One is obviously like, it's very electronic. It's not. I wouldn't even call this hybrid orchestral. It's not like an orchestra and then there's some electronics to support it. No, this is like a full, like a fully produced electronic track in a way, or like this genre of music. And then there's also an orchestra in it. And I think you have to understand that, and making the orchestra louder or pushing it further will not help make it sound more like an orchestral track when you have drums like this, like electronic, like dubstep drums, pretty much. Where are the dubstep drums? Here. Oh, where are they? Oh, like this. This sounds like a heavy metal breakdown, just with a different orchestration. So it makes me want to headbang. Okay, so there's so much going on here, and what can I say? It works for this sort of genre. It's not really an orchestral track, but what can you do? So, yeah, like I said, you have like two things. Like, one of this over-the-top things with the piano, that plays glissandi and 16th or 32 notes, I think. Like here. Then the synths, the electric guitar solo, very nice, by the way. Is that played in live? Did you play that? The strings. Horns coming in. Okay, so here's also the dubstep, I guess. So what I want to say is there's so much happening at the same time. You put it all in one track. You have, strings, you have piano, you have choir, you have electric guitar, synthesizer, drums, speedy drums, slow drums. At the end, you go into a completely different thing with dramatic basses that sound like a cinematic track. So many ice cream flavors, so to say. When you go to an ice cream shop, you want to order maybe, I don't know how big your stomach is, but usually you want to order a few ice cream flavors, like 2, maybe 3. But I felt like this was like a bucket of ice cream. Nice, the guitar lead was programmed. Good job on that. That sounded really, really, really nice. And then, like, here you brought in also more of the orchestra, I think. Here it works a bit better with the orchestra because you reduce the other elements, the drums, or the electronic feel, the crazy synth, the piano, the choir. Here you give more room to the orchestra and you can hear a bit more. Here it's like an orchestra rock song, which I think you want to go for. So overall, I think it's a lot of stuff. If you want to bring in the orchestra more, I would reduce the other elements. I don't think it makes sense to push it even more because it's already loud, it's already full. So for example, this is a different genre, but you have this genre of symphonic heavy metal, for example. And usually what these bands do is, in their tracks, like they have, guitars and drums and bass, the stars of the show, but then they add in the orchestra. But usually what they do is they are very specific of what they add. Usually you don't have a full orchestra recording layered on top of a full rock or metal recording, because that doesn't work. There's so much happening that your brain explodes, and you lose some of the elements. So what they do is they focus on a few elements, like very highly processed violins that can pierce through the rest, like the synth, the drums, to make them audible. And same for the brass. It's more like a few carefully selected choices that make the orchestra thinner, but also make it pierce through more. So in the previous tracks, I recommended adding more instruments, woodwinds, layer them to create these orchestral colors and dense orchestrations. Here I would actually reduce it a bit and focus on what you really want to show, because you have to accept that there's only so much you can show at the same time. In this track, it's still okay if you want to go for that super hyped, I call it, dance revolution rhythm game genre. If you want to go for an orchestral track, obviously you need to tone down these electronic elements a lot. The drums, they go full ham for most of the track, and it's your choice. It's a stylistic choice. Nothing is better or worse. But if you want it to sound like an orchestral track, you should probably reduce the drums a bit. And I mean, okay, you put in an electric guitar solo, so I think you're aware of this, and I think you want to go for this crazy genre. So for that, it's actually fine. How can you bring the choir more forward? Yeah, again, I would say reduce the other elements and compression, I would say. Maybe you can add a little bit of an exciter to distort some of the harmonic overtones to make it sound a bit more like sizzling, more piercing through on the high ends. But this is already very busy. I'm not sure if I would have this part here because it sounds like a different track. Usually you don't want to add a second song after a song or within a song. It usually doesn't. It usually makes the first part of the track feel like irrelevant, because you're like, forget that. Here's the new thing. Here's the new thing. Here's the new thing. So what is good is that you brought it back. You brought back the piano, which you introduced here as well, I think. Yeah. This is good because it closes the story arc. for the storytelling. I think this track needs storytelling. There's so much going on that it's hard to, you jump into there, you jump into the guitar, use it solo. It's like a showcase. I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. It's exciting, but if you want to, as a standalone track, I would reduce it a little bit. I would not have the second part in it. I think you can like remove if you want, or redo like this part with the double basses. Even though I love the breakdown part, it just feels disconnected from the rest. Outro is very nice again, so that was good. Thanks for submitting. Big round of applause. This is very different, and I love it. I love that we have different tracks. By the way, it didn't really feel like a battle theme to me. This part, yes. This felt more like a, oh yes, I'm on a trip, and everything is happening, and I'm feeling good about it. So it's a hyped battle theme 3. Next one. Next one we have SJ Comps. SJ Comps. I think you didn't say anything. Why is my notes empty? Did I mess up or didn't you say anything? If you want to say something about the track, let me know. Let's take a listen. This looks a bit quiet already. Hey Luke. JRPG music, yeah. Let's see what you gave us here. SJ Comps. Flutes. Nice. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Look, you made it. Oh, nice. Orient the Blind Forest, anyone? And the gong ringing out forever. SJ Combs, this is super cool. I love how you took your time to introduce the flute. You didn't rush it, which is good, because sometimes we get a little bit, impatient. This flute is gorgeous. It's good. It's good how the third phrase of the flute sort of mimics the first one. Da, da, da. So this gives, this explains to the listener here's our motif, okay? Da, 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 da. Sort of like this. Reminds me a bit of that song from The Hobbit, like the Misty Mountains, I think it's called. Not sure. And then here, this moment. Ah, this is so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, E minor. And then, so here you only hinted at this E minor. You know, you played a bit flute over this. And then what I like a lot is as you introduce the new instruments here, you go into this the C major. You go from the E minor. You go into the C major, which is, you know, super classical move. But why it sounds powerful in your arrangement is because you harmonized. You know, you stay at the E minor, and then you harmonized, but also you introduce this new world. It sounds like, you know, you're in a room and there's like, or like a, you know, imagine you're in the Narnia movies or so, and there's the room, there's the wardrobe, and then, you know, you have this flute that hints what's to come, and then, you know, you open that door and you go into that world. That's how it sounds like here. You know, it opens up. That's the Ori. Yeah. Ah, and then the singing cello. Love it. This is so good. Oh, I think so the cello doesn't have a rebow here. It goes, it plays the same note again, da, 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 but the velocity of the second note is so high that it actually, you can see it on the waveform. Wait, is that a cello? Is that a Morincourt? Is it a Morincourt? Or is it? Not sure. That transition sounds nice. Makes me think it's a Morincourt. Nice percussion. Ah, it's a cello. I would have more bass. Here, the piccolo chow flute is still playing in the where the melody rests, but it's very long. You notice it a lot. I would not have it play the entire bar. The strings chords, there are strings chords underneath. I'm not sure if it's an ensemble patch or if you orchestrated it. It sounds a bit static, dynamic-wise. I would give it more movement. It's quite prominent, but it stays, I think, always at the same dynamics. Listen to the bed of strings chords. Can you hear it? Now, here you ramped it up at the end. You go like, that's good. But I felt like it was a bit prominent in the climax. What would you do to add bass? I would double the double basses with tubas and contrabassoons. Depends if you want the tubas. They add this, like, usually I want to keep my tubas, if I double them, at a rather like low dynamics, so they don't have this metallic tone. If I don't want it, I don't think it would fit here because of this magical, whimsical atmosphere that's usually carried by these flutes and strings. But you can try to add it with the softer dynamics to get the roundness of the tuba into the mix. But what you can always do is bassoons and contrabassoons because they have this airy, breathy sound that goes very well with the strings for this type of fantasy orchestration, fantasy compositions. I think I would fade it out earlier, but you know, whatever. This is super nice. I love this. I think what I would have done is, in the climax, I would have picked up the melody here. So you change up the melody entirely, I think. Da, 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 da. But the flutes don't play that. Good point about the low organ. Yeah, so imagine the flute actually played the same. Da, 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 da. And then here it's the same, but then with a full orchestra. That would be like, you know, I remember this. This is the motif. This creates something emotionally inside of me. So that would have been nice if those would match. It's not a big deal because they're similar. So you get away with it, and it's a great composition. I love it. But that's something you can do to recognize and make that connection, the emotional connection for the story. Thanks for submitting this, SJ Coms. Super cool. Big round of applause for SJ Coms. Thank you for submitting. This is amazing. Next one. Sub bass. Absolutely, you can do it, but you have to be careful. Depends on the genre that you write. If you want to stay very organic and orchestral, you can do it, but usually it helps a lot in hybrid orchestral music where everything is a bit more hyped up anyway. Because like if you have a delicate orchestration, you know, like the flute solos, yeah, you have to be careful that the sub bass is not too audible. Else you will notice it and then it sounds a bit, yeah, maybe weird. You having a good time, everyone? There's a million instrumental options. Yep, for sure. Next one, we have Zenzel Stevens. Extra info. The track was made to go with an image of a dark and powerful empress sitting on a throne. Title is, the track is called The Dark Empress. I expect drama. I expect diminished chords. I expect organs. I expect big brass. What else do I expect? The Dark Empress sitting on a throne. I want it to blow me away. Let's see. Oh, the synth. I make it louder. That's dark. By SJ. Oh. Oh, the electric guitar. What's with these electric guitars today? Zenzel, good job. Thanks for your submission. This is super iconic. Like, this is yours. Like, I feel like, yeah, very, very creative choice in instruments and the way that you approach this. So the Dark Empress. What do we have? The beginning is a really nice synth. I love it. This synth is good. So you introduce this bam, 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 bam. So that's your rhythmic motif. And when you introduce something like that bold, you need to bring it back later. So let's see if you did that. Bam, 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 bam. Keep that in mind. It's like knocking. Dark Empress is knocking on your door and she's like, you know, you better give me your taxes, bro. Dum, 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 dum. So that's like that's your melodic motif or your ostinato. So you have dum da da dum and the octaved ostinato. Yeah, I can stop talking while listening to that. Ikira, we submitted the tracks via email to kevin@becomeaprocomposer.com, but we already have all submissions for this round. So I will have to consider it for the next one. For this one, we're already set, but you can send your submissions here. Please add your name, the tempo of the track, and anything you would like to be commented on for future live streams. Is that Talos? Yeah, I like the percussion. It's cool. It fits. It fits to that string ostinato. I think the strings are a bit up front in the mix. I would push them back a bit. Maybe some either like lower the volume or add some push back, push down the close mics, perhaps. Maybe just a bit more quiet. Really cool. I think it's a strings rise, like some something from Constrictor or so. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, really cool like tension in the background with the strings, like the high strings. This is cool, like bam. But probably at this part, I would leave the strings, leave the ostinato, and only have this bam, 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 and then have like quiet, like 1 bar, 2 bars quiet. Maybe then again like bam, 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 because then the listener's like, oh, this is gonna be good. There's something coming. There's something coming. But because you kept playing these, you know, all the time, in this case, it makes it a bit smaller and a bit less exciting in this part. Are those dolls, the drums? I like this. Reminds me of Chrono Trigger's Magus theme, if anyone played that game back then. Very nice. Gives this exotic vibe for the Dark Empress. Not sure if the guitar fits entirely into the world of sound, the universe that you built. It sort of breaks it a little bit for me, even though it's nice. It's not too upfront. There's no solo. It's cinematic enough that it's like an interlude. But I feel like stylistic-wise, it would have been more convincing if you kept this like world vibe, the ethnic vibe, and yeah, the electric guitar is a bit of a surprise here. It works because you don't overdo it. then you go back. This is super important that you did this. The outro was very well done because it mimicked the intro. And it sounds so simple, but many people don't do it, especially when they're not experienced. This is super helpful because you reminded us, it's like, this is the Empress, this is her motif, this is the bam, 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 bam. And you brought it back. So if it was a movie, for example, and later on, the Empress would come again and it would play this bam, 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 bam again, you would know and you would make that connection. So this is really well done. Thanks for submitting. It was quite something. Ikira, you will have to submit via email, and I can feature you in the next stream if you want. Next track, Etudes, Untitled, Work in Progress. No track name yet, 130 BPM, no further information. Let's go. Sahara voices, yeah, for sure that fits here. Oh, this one's gonna be interesting. Lots of similar things going here. And then, like this, it's repeating, I can see this. I'm curious to see what this sounds like. And then we go loud until the end with a little intro. Let's give it a listen. Ah, I forgot the claps. Big claps. For Zenzel. Good job. The Dark Empress. Now, Etudes, Untitled, Work in Progress. You ready? Everything good? Everyone have a good time? Let's go. I won't talk while playing this. Here we go. Wowza. That was so cool. Hey, Chudes, that was impressive. What do we have here? So, you did such a good job in creating vibes of epicness. You started with swells, piano, strings. I hear the OTT. Can you hear it? I think it's there. Very nice. Yeah, very cinematic. I like how you have this ding, 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 like very soft. The piano adds a bit rhythmic drive, so it doesn't get too boring with these sustained chords. Nice dynamics, nice velocities. Gets a bit louder, but like also very tame, very good. I love that soft choir here. I thought that immediately when listening to the first time. Nice. Nice slow syllables here. Is that chorus? Not sure. Gorgeous. Very nice call and response, a question and answer. Sorry, here, like da 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 da. Yeah, very nice. The solo vocals, they continue the phrase that the cello plays. That's how you do it. Good job. Also very good that you have the solo vocals use this similar phrase that goes like this. Here and also here. So this again creates this familiarity. You introduce us to your composition. You say, look, these are the strings, the swells, this is the solo vocals, and this is the solo cello. And they are going to tell you a story, and this is how it goes. And you stay true to that. That's super important. Very good. Here I would have a little pause, not only because it's like if it was a trailer track, it would be necessary for the editor to cut it, but also to just think about what just happened. Like a little, like, you know, let the reverb ring out. Just can be just a bar, can be two, but it's also fine if it's only one. Like a few seconds of calming down again, and then have like maybe a drum roll, and then, you know, you introduce the orchestra like you did. You did it without the break. It's also okay. I'm just saying it could help establish the structure a bit more clearly. Okay, sorry. I was fooled by the wave. You actually did that. It's just the drop, the downer was so loud that yeah, I missed it. So here's the silence that I meant. Okay. And then the ostinato is super nice, very Hans Zimmer. I love this so much. This strings work here is top notch. Like, this is great. I love it so much. You go for the high piercing strings, okay? But if it would have been a mistake if you kept doing that, because that would have been boring. Like, this is perfectly fine. You introduced it, but then you switched it up to this lower dynamics and lower register with the, I guess, violas. Here. So good. Then you have the harmonics things, like the bass line goes from... Yeah. Just that thing. Chord progression is simple. Super good to tell you, look, something's happening now. We are going somewhere. And then you take this. You take this. And then you bring it back, but you add more to it. Now you show its full form. So this is the first track that we listened, Ron. This is what I meant on how you can make a track longer. You don't show the full riff or ostinato yet, but you hint at it. You show the first notes and have the listener wonder what's happening next. And then you show everything. And this makes the track longer. It adds storytelling. It adds anticipation, excitement. That's how you do it. That horn melody is perfect here. It's perfect. It fits so well. It's low enough that it's not too hyped, and like it takes its time, and it's slow, but like that slowness over that creates this scale that you need for such a track. Super good. The choir joining also good. The drums could be a bit louder or like layered with some more impactful stuff, I think. They're quite tame. Here, I think at 2:30 you could have probably stopped the track, like go back to an outro that goes similar to the intro. Bye, Luke. Nice to have you here. Have a good one. Merry Christmas. I think here it would have been good to have a pause. Again, like have the downer here. You already had it. Boom. And maybe make a pause. Then either go like crazy, you know, like bam, ba ba bam at the big finale, or go into this calm outro that would go, yeah, just like that. You could literally take this and let's see if this works. You could literally stitch this here. You know what I mean, I guess. Then like one bar of silence, and then either only have that one chord and have it ring out like this, or you can even play the first two. That's something you could do. You can also have the signature, just the one note, bing, the piano one would also work. It's a stylistic choice. The way that you made the horn felt a bit disconnected. Because I didn't recognize this motif really. Yes, you played it once in the where I said it fits so well in the climax, but I didn't really make the connection back to it. I felt like, what is this? This doesn't belong to the rest of the track. So yeah, I didn't feel the connection there so much. The track and overall, it gave me goosebumps. So good. I saw your reactions in the chat. Everyone like, yeah, you nailed the epic vibe. Hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for submitting this, Chudes. Good job. All right, midroll. See you later. Everyone still there? Ready for the next one? We have Mark. Mark. so weird. I came so prepared. 1 sec. But all my notes are gone that I made for the submissions. Trying to find it right now. Mark. We have 2 marks, by the way. This is 1 mark. There'll be another mark a bit later. Mark, if you're here, pursue 80 BPM. Let me know if you want us to know anything about the track. I can't find your notes. Maybe there were none. Can also be. Let's listen to it for now. Also, big claps to it, Chudes. Pursue. That ended abruptly? Or unexpectedly. Thanks, Mark. Pursue. It's beautiful. So, what do we have? It was very playful, very whimsical, nice, like back and forth between strings and flutes for that. It's like anime style soundtrack, I would say, like lush. I hear Japanese inspiration here. Like, let me know if I'm wrong. I could very nicely imagine this in an anime or maybe a JRPG. Gorgeously orchestrated and arranged. So the textures, the tonal textures that you create are beautiful. You know, they mix the roundness of the clarinets with the strings bed, lots of textures in the background. Yeah, the oboe, you showcase each of these woodwind instruments. The bassoons here. Playful violins, bum 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 bum. Later also the pizzicato. Nice, like little, how to say, like flourishes or dynamic things that make it a bit more lively. Like listen in the background. The flute. It's a good choice to do this. Hey, Ollie. Ah, nice trill. Very nice. And then I love how for the B part, you open up, you do this like cymbal swell, and then it really like it opens you into this piano soundscape. Like you could have gone loud there, but actually you do the opposite, and I think it's the right choice for the B part. This is gorgeous, super gorgeous. The harp. The harp and the piano work very well here. This is super, super good. Bringing in the strings bed plus the oboe. It's good. And then I felt like, okay, this track is long. That was my impression when I reached about here. And I think what you did here, and also probably here, both could have been their own tracks. That was my impression. Let's see if I get the feeling again. So this is like a climax. This could be the climax of your track. Soaring with violins, you know, like in octaves, violin 1 playing an octave below the second one, and then they're having the cellos 2 octaves below. So you have like a 3-part doubled strings melody soaring through it, doubled by flutes and bassoons, like that sort of stuff over a bed of strings with piccolo runs and harps. That would be the climax that I would expect here to, you know, create that anime overwhelming sense of beauty. You put the rhythmic, like you did the rhythmic thing here. Super nice, da da da, bam. But then I would have like a piatti, you know, and make it big. So this like this little hesitation and then leaning into it has weight. In that here, it sounded a bit like a gimmick. It's okay. I liked it though. Like don't take the gimmick as a negative thing. But I think it could have more function. This little delaying it to create this emotional thing. And here, I feel like the climax is twice as long as it has to be. Again, it's beautiful. Like you have as it slowly fades out, you have the flutes playing a scale downwards. It's absolutely gorgeous. So You do very well at like reducing and expanding, having an orchestra and then having the piano and bringing back the orchestra. That's what you do very well. But I feel like it lacks a bit of emphasis. Yeah, like Zenzel said, impact. So like a piano can help with that. Or yes, you have cymbal swells that are very soft and swelling, but maybe a bass drum can sometimes have to help to add weight to a new part, so you can tell the listener this is a bit of a new part, and our story continues here. Even though, of course, you want that flowing storytelling that fits to the genre of this music, but still, I think some emphasis could help here. There it comes, yeah. Yeah, this could be. It's a similar style, but it feels like a bit of a different song. The melody is different. Here it's a different melody. So this, in a soundtrack, this could be a different track. Definitely. It has nothing to do with here. Ah, sorry, no, it does. It does. Sorry, that's a okay. Here a second. Outro, sort of? No, it's like a build up again. See, so I get confused because I thought this is the climax. And then what else can come after the climax? And usually an outro. But what you did is, after the climax, you went back into a transition. So you basically give us two climaxes. And you combine them with this bridge. Yeah, and this is definitely a different track for me. So I would like to hear an EP of you. One track is like this. Yeah, this is. It would be really. I love it. The rhythmic thing going on, the percussion. It's gorgeous. I don't think it fits so much to the things that you introduced here, which probably leads to that feeling that you had, that you feel like your melodies are not memorable enough, or they lack definition, because you give us so many of them, and listeners who, like me, who listen to it for the first time, we only have so much stuff that we can memorize in your track, and we are like marveling at all the beauty, the runs, the harps, the piano. This is all beautiful. So you have to be very gentle of how much melody you make us process, because there's so much little detail going on that we appreciate while we listen to this. So for melody, I think less is more. Repeat the melody and tell us what is the main motif. Bring it back. And then also add a bit maybe definition. Like, I love what you did with this delaying, like for one beat. And I wish you would. I feel like it's a bit overdone here because it's twice. It doesn't really have a function in that case, I think. But I love that you're doing this, and I think this is great thinking here. And I would love if you would use it a bit more sparingly. But when you use it, give it function and use it to delay and then have like an impact to give us goosebumps. I hope this was helpful. Give it up for Mark. Such a lovely, magical orchestration. Really great job on this one. Next we have UX Vanward. Hello there, my name is UX. I'm an aspiring composer from Veracruz, Mexico. This is actually my first track I've ever composed. I'm extremely new to creating music, so I guess I am a novice in many ways. I don't really have a background in music theory, since we never even had music school lessons here when I grew up. So I'm pretty much going by instinct, and from a lot of music I listen to, I barely understand what a chord is. I just stack notes. I'm also a self-taught vocalist, so maybe that helps. I'm sure you have some good ideas about melodies then. This was some sort of experiment for me to learn how to compose and use a DAW, and it ended evolving into a more ambitious track. I've never used MIDI properly before making this, and I just use my mouse since I can't afford a keyboard. Good job on not getting yourself limited by that. The track is titled Vanward. And there's an epic hybrid track with lots of Hiroyuki Sawano influences. It has the Arc 1 orchestra, some synths, and even some ethnic stuff. It is 180 BPM in the key of A minor. I think I don't know music theory. I feel that is a sort of epic action score that is both uplifting and aggressively loud, very wall of sound. Hoping to get some feedback regarding the composition, arrangement, and mixing. Thank you in advance. Okay, UX. Oh, it's a sausage. It's a sausage. It's gonna be loud. Another brick into DAW. Good job, UX, for having the courage to submit this. You say you're a beginner. You don't know anything about music theory. It's fine. And that's good. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's see what you gave us. And I'm excited to take a listen. Let's go. I might have to turn it down. I'm not sure. Let's prepare ourselves. You ready? Let's go. UX, thank you for submitting. Hybrid orchestral, not an easy genre to start with, let me tell you that. Good job on doing this as your first composition ever without knowing music theory, knowing about harmony, knowing about so many things that you will acquire as you practice, learn, and improve along the way. This is your starting point, and I think it's a good starting point. So, what do we have? Okay. It's a wall of sound. You wanted to go for one. You succeeded in creating a wall of sound, both in the good sense and both in the bad sense. Let's dissect. You establish your main motif. Not the most creative motif in the world, doesn't matter. Some of the easiest and some of the most iconic soundtracks have the simplest motif, so that's fine. This, well, of course it's in D minor. So going from D minor, let me play the piano. It's a very heroic one, it's very stable, it's a clear statement. It's bold, let's call it bold. This one is not messing around. You repeat it here and add a little, like a boom, and have the violins play like a counter thing, da, da, while in the lower it's like da, 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 da. It makes sense. It's like longs over short notes, so it fits. It doesn't get too muddy. You bring in the choir immediately from the start, which I think is a mistake. Because where do you go from here? Of course, there are things to go, and you show us here where you're going with the percussion. But what I mean is, in the intro, feel free to tell a story. Feel free to tell a story where you introduce and then build on it. You do it a bit, but if you look at this, it is mostly in your face over 4 minutes, and my impression was it gets a bit tiring from the constant epicness. Let's see what you're doing. Production sounds clean. The horns sound good. They're like sort of in the background, but you can hear them very well. So you succeed in creating this illusion that you have the strings sitting in the front and then the horns in the back. But because the horns are so loud, they have this epic quality with that slow, again, like Chudes did before in that super epic track. Having these horns play slowly is a good contrast to this short strings ostinato. But the problem is, it's 20 seconds and you're at maximum, pretty much. So here you already have, I think, a doubled melody in octaves, horns, choir, ostinato, percussion. So you're almost done. Like, this is already everything you have. So you shoot your gunpowder very early. And also there's some muddiness going on here. Like, it's not clear what chords are being played. Things are, I think in the lower mids you harmonize too much. I think you have to close intervals in the lower. I think it's the trombones. I'm not sure, that plays some harmony there. Yeah, same here. The chord is a bit like that. Trombone sort of creates this muddiness here because the bass should actually be louder, but it's that. I'm not sure it's a fifth. I like how the Chimbasi. Yeah, Chimbasi. I like how uplifting you bring the violins, like they play an upward melody. Here. But again, some super rumbly in the lower mids. Maybe it helps EQing some of the instruments, but it can also just be the orchestration. I think at first I will try to solve this via orchestration. There's a lot going on in the lower register. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Your percussion, I think, has too much boominess. Yeah, it's okay. But here I think you need to be careful. Maybe you layered percussion, but kept in the low end of multiple percussion instruments. That creates this boominess, combined probably with booms that you actually use because it's a hybrid orchestral text. So it takes away so much space in the frequency spectrum that it's a bit tiring to listen to the other orchestral instruments also blasting full force. This is cool, a little pause, bum, 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 plus the Brahms, a typical thing. Can do that. I would probably have made add some trailer hits here or so, like the percussion sounds a bit thin here. Also, it's just bum, 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 but it loses some of the epicness. Because there's not much happening in the percussion here. It would have been nice if you had these fillers in the drums, like some sticks or high percussion like that go in the background, bum 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 bum, while the bass drums go like doom doom doom, you know, to show us what's happening there, to imagine like a big soundscape. Okay, here it comes. But I would have more here. I would have more because this is like almost like a drum solo, I guess. And here I think you started again, sort of like a new track, or this would be a nice 2:30, maximum 3 minutes is like the usual length for a trailer track for this type of hybrid orchestral music. You went for over 4 minutes, and I think it's too long because this part gets a bit tiresome to listen to because it's the second time you go for a full climax pretty much. You see that there's little development. It's pretty much the same. I can play here and then here. So that's very similar throughout, which lacks, like it makes the storytelling a bit less effective. When you have a climax, make sure to prepare it. Have a little bit of silence before, have a build-up, hint to a motif, like a little melody that you're playing in the climax. And then when the climax hits, make sure it hits hard. But don't make it too long, or our ears will get unimpressed. You know, it's like, okay, climax, 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 climax. Then, you know, we can't feel 2 minutes of epicness unless you change things like all the time, like masterfully, like these big composers. But in this case, it gets a bit stale. Also, you brought in a lot of instruments. I felt like, okay, you wanted to try something and then you made, oh, let's make it into a full track. Oh, why not bring in a piano? Why not bring solo vocals? And throat singing. And electric guitar, you know what I mean? It's so much that here in the second half of the track, you sort of lose a bit of the identity that you had here. I think the track could have probably ended here with the bam, 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 bam. Here it feels like experimentation, which is perfectly fine. You can be proud of yourself with this composition. Hybrid orchestral music is not easy to produce. And you've done a lot of things right. You've placed the horns right in the context of the strings. The strings are a bit loud, I think. You have Brahms and you have a percussion beat that makes sense. The structure could have a bit more space to breathe. Some pauses, some build up, taking your time, and then hitting us with the climax when you're ready to, instead of having 60% of the track being a climax. An outro would have been good. You went for an ending chord. I guess that's okay. If you wanted, you could have... Yeah, you could have... Here you could have like a piano or maybe that... yeah, the piano that you have here. Maybe here you could have these notes. You could have ended with that and let them ring out. Something like that. Would have been quite cinematic, I guess. Yeah, good job. Thanks for submitting this. Big round of applause. Your first composition is better than my first composition. Let's say it like that. Good job. Okay, next one. You guys still awake? Next one we have Noah with the impressive title, Defeating a God. We should have a winner on the giveaway by now. Let's see. Yep, Richard Kessing. You won Tonsturm Spiral Strings. Congratulations. Please send me direct message and I'll get back to you. Okay, Noah. Thank you for doing this stream. Love your videos. Thank you. I've been composing with FL Studio for 1.5 years now, but I have the feeling that my tracks lack a dynamic and realistic sound. I think there's also too much repetition in my tracks, especially in the percussions. Yeah, percussion is hard to get right, but there are some rules you can do to make them interesting. I'll show you. Also, I always struggle to get the most out of every orchestral section. I think my tracks sound too crowded at the most epic parts, but I'd like to hear what you think. Thank you. Noah, Defeating a God, 160 BPM. Let's take a listen. Sorry. Let's defeat the God. that cheeky piano note. Dude, I'm finished now, mom. Noah, thank you for your submission. This one was a long one. Almost 5 minutes. So what do we have here? Let's dissect this. We have many parts that sound very similar to each other. Let's call it like that. So what do you do? In the beginning, you show us this is a piano track. Let me guess you play the piano, because the piano work is great on this one. Nice chords, nice ba-bam, rhythmic stuff. This is a piano-driven track. You want to know the first thought that I had when playing this track, the beginning? This part, oops. This part is a great outro. It's a better outro than intro. Because what do we have? We have a piano that goes like, you know, ba-bam, ba-bam. It shows what, like, it plays the harmonies. It has all the atmosphere, all the harmonies is in there, the chords. But then there's also, you have horns after like, how many seconds? Yeah, right from the beginning. You have counter melody with the horns. High velocities on the piano. You have distortions, like diminished harmonies. You have strings. So you pretty much have all elements, but they haven't been introduced yet. And because they're all playing at the same time, it doesn't sound like an intro to me. It sounds like an outro. Imagine you had this at the end of a climax, and then as a reprise, you have this, you know, the horn telling you the end of this story. To me, this sounds like an ending, and I wish the different elements would have been introduced a bit more gradually. That pause is very long. I see that you have like this, which is good. But then, could have probably have the pause half as long, but doesn't matter. You double the choir with the violins and the horns, which is a bold move for a B part. So you already double the melody with everything you have, but then you sort of lose choices for the rest. That is not the melody. So that's why it sounds a bit empty. It sounds like you have the drums. Bum, bum, bum. Some downers here. Brr. And then there's the melody. You have like drums and melody, but there's not so much in the middle that would give the chords the atmosphere that you want to give it. So it feels like a bit like do 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 do. It's hard to focus on. Here you bring this the ostinato nice into the from the background into the foreground, which is a good focus shift. It's nice. It adds some interest. The ostinato is nice. It has some nice harmonies going there, and the piano on top. It's cool. Exactly. Make a pause here. Here you can make it twice as long, maybe. And then have your final climax here. You're at 1:30. Make a 45-second climax, 16 bars. And then call it a day. Add an outro, and then you're done. You're at 2:30. Your average production music length that has everything you need. You would have an intro. you would have a B part and then like a building part, an ostinato with the piano with the horns. It ends with the dissonant, the typical. Keep doing the wrong track. Like that. And then here I would have added the full climax. All these parts sound too similar to justify us listening for 2 more minutes, I think. You see, this sounds pretty much the same or very similar to this. The horns are still blasting. By the way, they don't have to breathe in your composition. They never breathe, which is very tiresome because having horns are very loud and they're very epic and heroic. But because they never stop, it loses the sense of epicness. Another thing, the percussion. Nice job on the rhythms, like bam, 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 bam. It fits well into this genre, good job. But I think you're using only one percussion track, or at least one percussion element. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, nice. But there's nothing else happening in the percussion. Like there is no high percussion, I think, that goes like, you know, there's, I think, some more bass in the percussion would help here to add oomph and impact. Yes, you use downers and you use booms, I think, at the beginning of a new part, but then it sort of loses the focus a bit. Everywhere it's bum, 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 bum. See what I mean? So for the percussion, that was also your question. So for the percussion, what you want to do is, if you want to write a percussion beat, so three elements, low, medium, high. Have the low percussion, booms, bass drum, timpanis, I guess, if you do tonal stuff. Have the low percussion play few notes. They add weight. Emphasize a new bar, or maybe your 1 or 2 main accents. Hey, Lucas, nice to see you. So have your main accents to add weight and emphasize like a full stop in a sentence. Then the high percussion plays the most notes. It plays those 16th, those. Well, not the dum-dum-dum, that would be the low percussion, sorry. But like a drive, like a groove. A fast groove. And then the medium, you can have like toms, dolls, djembes, taikos, that take the rhythmic foundation of the low drums, but add more to it. So if the main drum would be bum, 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 the mid percussion, I told you, and I think your drums that you pick are mid percussion. They can be bum, 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 ba bum, bum, ba 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 bum, bum, like that. And you do this. You add some variation every now and then. But you only have this one element, and no highs and no oomphy lows that would add weight. So it's a bit one-dimensional. And when you write a percussion groove with these 3 elements, here's what you do. You think about it in 4 parts. And the first part establishes the groove. Like, let's say you go for a bum, 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 bum. Okay, that will be the first part. Then you have to repeat it in the second one to make sure that people get used to it. But at the end of the second part, after you have the third and fourth, so after half of it, you have a little fill. So you go like bum, 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 bum. So this bum, 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 bum would be the little fill. And then in the third one, you repeat the first one, just like you did, like just 100% repetition. And then in the fourth one, you add more variation. The fourth one should be the most different. Like there you can have the triplets, the doom, 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 doom. And then you go back to the first one. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. First one establishes what you're doing. Second one repeats but has a fill at the end. Third one is a repetition of the first one. And the fourth one goes different, like a longer fill, more accents. And then you have like a groove that evolves over time. So if you want me to illustrate this, check my YouTube channel. I have a video that's called Exercise 1. Ben, maybe you can link it real quick. It's the composing exercise 1, how to create a cinematic percussion groove. It would be really cool if you could link it here, or someone else, maybe you can find it. So there you can see this, how I apply this concept. Thanks for submitting. I hope this was helpful, and I hope I could help you a bit. Watch that video to see how you can write a good drum groove that makes it a bit more interesting to listen to this over such a long time. Great composition. Work on the structure, maybe make it a bit shorter. Good that you added these pauses to have like a contrast to the big parts, but make sure that you make the big parts count and don't use them too long and too often. Okay, I think we have time for 2 more. Let's hurry and so I can do as many as possible. I think we can do like maybe 20 more minutes. So next one, without further ado, Marvin, the weight of losing. Oh, losing weight, the losing of weight. That would be something for me in the Christmas time, the losing of weight, eating way too many cookies. Hey, Kevin, Marvin here. I have a nice little submission for your feedback stream. The track is called The Weight of Losing, and it's written in the key of B flat major. The tempo is 85. What should you know about the track? The track is about someone who lost a special person and is running out of his house into the rain. Very cinematic. Later on, a girl is hugging him. She wants to lift the pain from his broken soul. That's all you should know about the little story I came up with. Marvin is a master of storytelling. Let me tell you that. In every of the Composer Game submission, he is telling a story. Enjoy the Christmas days and have a great start into 2024. Thank you. P.S. I love this community. Marvin, we love you too. You're an inspiration for many of us. Thank you for your submission. 1 minute. Broken soul. Dude runs into the rain. Girl is hugging him and lifts off his pain. Let's see. Yep, storytelling. This is so cute. What a lovely little piece, Marvin. Thanks for your submission. So what do we have? We have a story. We have a person walking out into the rain, and you actually include the sound effects to tell the story. I feel like I'm in an anime. Let's be real. You have Japanese inspirations in here. Tell me if I'm wrong. This sounds like, I don't know, Clannad or so many other animes. Love stories. Lovely little beginning chord. In the first inversion, I think. So good. Very tactful, nicely played. You introduce this motif, da, 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 and you bring it back. It's good. Oh, what you're doing here is so good. This like suspension, and then into the first inversion. It's beautiful. No anime. Sorry about that. Okay. The sniffing was a bit much. It felt a bit comedic to me because it was the same sample that kept coming up over and over. So maybe reduce a little bit the sniffing if you want. It took me a bit out of the immersion. The drop is a bit far in the front. Maybe a bit more reverb or even delay. Bum 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 bum. It's like softly in the back. Could give it a bit more of a cinematic vibe, like not cinematic and epic cinematic, but like it would fit perhaps a bit more into this ball of emotion and atmosphere that you're building, and not stick out so much. It's beautiful. And then the girl comes. Yep. Nice, like it's like the camera like shifts from the weeping guy, and then to the new character that brings her like light heart, or like, you know, she approaches him and it's really singing now, the higher notes, very uplifting. So it feels like this is the second character. It's a nice separation. Footsteps. And then she heals him a little bit. Gorgeous counter melody in the woodwinds. And then you keep it short with a nice end outro of his bad thoughts dissolving in thin air, going further and further away, and we zoom out and everything is good again. Very wholesome. I love it. Good job. We have such a great community, such diverse and cool submissions. Yeah, congratulations to the submissions. It's beautiful. Okay, one more. Maybe two more. Let's see. We have Mark George. The Galleon Through the Storm. The Galleon Through Stormy Seas. Thank you, he says, for making the stream. You're welcome. Thank you for being awesome. As I was writing this piece, I could imagine... Wait. Clap, clap, clap for Marvin first. Okay. As I was writing this piece, I could imagine a scene on board of an old-style wooden ship in a rough sea. The crew struggling to keep the ship afloat. Torn sails billowing in the gusting winds, and waves of torrential water slamming into the ship and drenching the hard-working men on deck. The strings are mainly layered CSS with the short strings of Metropolis Arc 1. So CSS and Arc 1, I expect good legatos, but also the nice Taldeck sound, like spacious and hauly. The horns are a few libraries, including Audio Imperia Talos, so it's gonna be epic, I guess. The drums are Cerberus, it's gonna be very epic and direct. Cerberus has very direct impacts. It's like a glorified drum kit in a good way. And woodwinds, okay, are from several libraries, including MI, Symphony Essentials. NI, is it? Symphony Essentials is by Native Instruments. MI, is it a typo? Not sure. Hope you enjoy. Let's see. Galleon Through Stormy Seas. under 2 minutes. Here we go. Can you still hear me? Apparently my camera is gone and it turned off. I hope it didn't burn or so because we're streaming so long. Let me try to get it back on. One sec. Okay, let's see. My camera turned off. Now it's back on. Sorry for that. No idea what's happened there. But here we go again. Okay. So, Mark George, The Galleon Through Stormy Sea. Don't worry, I heard all of it, and I think you all heard it. This is the Melody Mayhem submission. It was Lloyd's. It's still black. No, I can't. It's not black. Is it still black? Please tell me the camera is fine, but it should be fine. Ah, it's back. Okay, so okay. The Galleon Through Stormy Seas. This is a Melody Mayhem submission, which is fun. Nice surprise here. You chose the right chords for a sailor. Also, it's D minor, so it's like again very stable, very heroic, very, you know, this is a tale and there's a ship and there's a storm, but at the same time we are weathering the storm. We're not going down. Like, this is the story that you tell. Sounds like, you know, what shall we do with the drunk sailor? It's like syncopated. It's fun. It fits to the storytelling. I think the second repetition is not necessary here because you don't add anything. It's the same thing. This is gorgeous. Very nice. Very nice little thing to F major there. And you used the same. You added a variation of the motif, which is good. It establishes the motif. It tells everyone, this is the motif, this is the story. It's not the galleon through the sea. Okay, he sent in the wrong track. It's funny, but it has sailor vibes, doesn't it? You know, it's similar. Love the clicky thing in the percussion here. Percussion, I guess. Nice little ticking. Very interesting voice thingy going on here. Sounds like processed like a robot voice in a way. I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I like it. Like I like the solo voice with the choir in the back. It's cool. I already played that, Ben. Here, again, it's the thing, like, it almost sounds like a different track now. Okay, but then you bring it back, so it was just this interlude, which is okay. Here I would have doubled the melody, perhaps with strings, because this is your loudest part, so you should also make the orchestration the richest, but you still have only the flute on top of like big drums. Like, how can one flute be as loud as the big drums, right? So I would probably double this a bit. Like, you can have the violas play the and then have the violins double the flute here, but this is just a suggestion. Of course, this is a creative decision. Sorry to hear that your family is sick, Ben. Hope it will get better very soon and that you can enjoy the holidays. I like the bada 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 bum bada bum. It's like it's nice, and I said before, like syncopated, lively drum groove. It's cool. I don't think the boom fits here because it's too hybrid. The track is not a hybrid track, but the boom is a hybrid element, and I think it breaks the immersion. Outro is good. The outro is good because it rings out an element that was introduced earlier, so there's a connection between these parts. Thanks, Mark, for sending this in. Good job. And yeah, sorry that I couldn't play the Galleon through the storm, but this one was also a great track. Okay, one more. We can do one more, then I have to call it a day. Next one in line is David. the Fantasy version 7. Fantasy version 7. 1 second. Let's see if he... There we go. David, first of all, thank you for the great videos you share with us. They're really helpful and interesting to watch. By the way, give it up. A big round of applause for Mark. David, here are 2 tracks for the stream. I will pick one. Fantasy. Fantasy is the latest thing I worked on. It's not completely done yet, but I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on it. It's just a little piece I wrote for myself. So no specific purpose, no production catalog or so, just for you. Lots of swells going on. 245, maybe 230. Okay. Let's hear what David has in stock for us. Fantasy version 7. Probably there are 6 more. Maybe there will be 30 more until you will finally finish it. I remember my first mock-up that I made had, I think, 230 revisions, and I just couldn't let go. So let's take a listen. Fantasy. David, thank you for your submission. Soothing. Soothing indeed. It has a nice flow. Yep, I agree with your comments here. So what do we have? You can see from the waveform, it's ebb and flow. It's ebb and flow. It goes up and down. It has swells up and down throughout the entire track. You succeeded with that intro. That intro is gorgeous. You got these strings here. harps, and a gorgeous soft, I think the Elven legato from Atlantis. I think it's Elven legato. It's gorgeous. Yeah, you show us the chord progression, main motifs. Nice piano in the background. Fits very well. So, up to here, very tactful introduction to the track. Very good. You show the main aspects, especially with the solo voices, and then like the harp piano, adding its little sparkle on top. Very good. Then you ramp it up a bit. With those strings. Very nice. Da, da, and opening up the painting, like the palette for the next parts to be painted on. Nice transition. Also that tambourine, I think, in the background. Yeah. Nice little tambourine. Like in the very far in the distance, you can hear this piano, dum 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 dum, which is getting picked up later by the, I think, by the strings. I love how you treated those swells. So there's a lot of swells in here, but you managed to give them different textures throughout the composition, which is super good. You start very lightly and then sometimes add a few more elements to it. Sometimes there's a low horn that goes like underneath these gentle strings, and you ramp up the intensity. So like each swell goes up and down, but overall the movement is getting louder and louder, like gradually, which is good. It adds life and like a movement to it. Like almost no swell is the same, which is good. Here you have like dum 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 dum, I think. Yeah, like some short strings in the background. Choir in the background, the solo vocal still doing its thing. So this works. It's like a AAA structure, you know, like Hans Zimmer's Time, for example. It's the same thing over and over again. The same chord progression. I think it doesn't change. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's nicely orchestrated. It's nicely... I like the dynamics. But also, it's a bit... like monotonous. It's the same thing over and over again, which is good in an AAA structure. But the different parts of the AAA structure, they need to be so, like, they need to be distinct. And the elements that you introduce, they should add a unique personality to it, so it doesn't get boring. This track didn't get boring. It's fine. I enjoyed it from beginning to end, but it was close to getting a bit repetitive. You saved this because these swells are so nice in the dynamic and very, again, I think tactful is the right word. It was appropriate for this genre and gorgeous. I wonder if you... Maybe here you could have even more brass. You have the what you made in the ending climax is you had the choir more prominent and the strings shorts. Maybe if you also brought in the full orchestra here, it would have been even more distinct compared to the part that is like in the middle. You get what I mean? It's like, it's quite similar here, and here. Nice flutes though. So in general, nice execution of an AAA structure. I think it's one of the hardest structures to do, so big kudos for that. Claps, claps, claps for that. Absolutely. I enjoyed it. It's so whimsical. We have some great fantasy composers here, and it's so nice to hear what you people come up with. You can be proud of your submission, and you wrote this just for yourself. So structure, you can do whatever you want, whatever fits your vision. It's a gorgeous little piece. Okay, I think we are almost at 3 hours now. I believe we can call it a day. We've had, what did we have? 12 submissions, I believe. Yeah, we've been able to go through 12. I'm sorry for those who submitted, who I couldn't bring into the stream. If you liked it, and give me feedback on how you felt the stream was, if it was helpful, if it was entertaining, if you had a good time to just hang out just before Christmas. I'll be fine to do this again in the future. Maybe regularly, I don't know. I hope this is helpful to you. Don't be disappointed if I couldn't show your track on stream today. Nudge me, let me know. I want this, I want this. Like if enough people tell me that this is cool, I will do it more often and to make sure that everyone's happy, gets the feedback that they deserve. Because I really appreciate that you submit these tracks, you know, you don't feel embarrassed to post your music, even if it's not, production ready, it's not professional. Maybe you're not doing this for 10 years. And I think this is inspiring, and I'm grateful for that. I hope I can give something back by just giving my opinions, my feedback on this. Take it with a grain of salt. These are just my opinions. Some of the feedback that I give is, was more objective on how to produce a well-balanced orchestration or mix. But sometimes there's also just stylistic preference, and your preference may be different from mine. So keep that in mind when you think back about my feedback, maybe watch back the stream on YouTube. Did you have a good time? Thank you for staying here for so long. UX, Marvin, Mark, and other Mark, and every single one of you. I really appreciate you being here. I hope this was helpful. I'll try to make this more often if you think it's a good idea. Now it's Christmas time. I wish you happy holidays if you're celebrating. Enjoy the last days of the year. Stay healthy. Eat lots of cake if you're allowed to. Drink some wine if you want. Spend some time with your family. And I'll see you soon. We'll catch up later. Have a great day. Have a great night. Sleep well. And bye-bye. See you in the next year.